When it comes to the oil and gas industry, regulatory and fiscal policies play a very big role when it comes to how the industry operates. In fact, it also affects how investment flows into a country or into a certain segment within the oil and gas sector. And that's why there is a lot of value for policymakers to actually increase their capacity by understanding various issues of how the oil and gas industry operates. And you can be able to do this by reading oil and gas books that cover regulatory issues, among other topics. Having policymakers or analysts in a country who actually understand the oil and gas value chain is important for the success of the industry in that particular country. If you have your leaders, legislators, members of parliament who actually understand how oil and gas operates, they will come up with better policies and better laws that can govern the industry. So if you are one of those people, if you are a policymaker, if you are a legislator, then I would actually encourage you to buy as many oil and gas books as is possible and spend time reading them so that you can understand how the oil and gas industry operates, among other things. Before I dive into the lessons, if you truly want a business model or a business system that can allow you to scale without trading your time for money, that allows you to be able to have financial, time, and location freedom, I have created a free guide for you called 7 Steps to Monetize Your Knowledge, Skills, or Expertise and to 10x your impact. Comment, send me the guide below, and I'm going to send you a link to get it on demand. The first reason why you need to be reading oil and gas books is because they are the foundation of the industry knowledge. And what I mean by this is the fact that the entire oil and gas value chain, meaning the upstream, the midstream, and downstream, are areas that you could understand simply by reading books that cover those phases. It is important because if you want to understand and learn about what goes on across the oil and gas value chain, getting books that cover the area of your interest gives you a legs up. It gives you an advantage because you get to learn from people who have been doing that particular thing. And that's because you have oil and gas books written by industry leaders, business leaders, experts close the oil and gas value chain, people who have done the operating within those industries. When you read oil and gas books, you're also going to get the benefit of having simplified concepts. And this makes it easier for you to learn in a logical way how the oil and gas industry works. The second reason of reading oil and gas books relates to the fact that you're going to understand the market dynamics. Oil and gas prices fluctuate a lot due to factors such as supply and demand, geopolitical events, as well as economic trends. When you read oil and gas books, you are going to be able to understand the interplay of all these factors and be able to know how things are moving across the oil and gas value chain and how it affects other aspects of the economy. You are going to understand the oil and gas price movement, which is very essential if you are an investor, if you are a business owner, or if you are someone working in the oil and gas industry. Oil and gas books also provide you with a deeper analysis of all these factors, including explaining to you how other organizations such as OPEC influence the global oil and gas prices. By reading oil and gas books, you can be able to understand how crude oil is traded in the market and why the prices rise and fall. And this is very important because it can help you to make informed decisions when making investment decisions in relation to the oil and gas sector. The third reason for reading oil and gas books is when you are seeking opportunities for your career growth. Oil and gas industry provides you with a lot of opportunities to get a job and also to grow your career. And this includes opportunities in such areas as engineering, geosciences, finance, logistics, as well as other areas of opportunities that you can be able to work in when it comes to the oil and gas industry. When you read books, you are able to get what is required in the oil and gas industry, what certificates are required, what degrees you need to study, what kind of skills you might require to be working in the oil and gas industry, whether you are doing that onshore or offshore. Getting a job in the oil and gas industry can be challenging, which is why you should read oil and gas books that can provide you with guidance and insights on how you can be able to maneuver or navigate as you look for job opportunities in the oil and gas sector. There are quite a number of books that have been written covering those topics, covering about how you can be able to get a job in the oil and gas sector, probably what you need to do in terms of skills and certification and knowledge that you need to have. And that's for the formal aspects of the jobs that you can be able to do in the oil and gas industry. For the informal jobs, you also need to have certain skills, and you need to read books or read materials that has been written about opportunities on those particular areas. Whether you are a student or a professional switching careers or someone looking to break into the oil and gas industry, reading oil and gas books can be a very good place for you to start. The fourth reason to read oil and gas books relates to investment and business insights. Oil and gas industry is a $1 trillion sector that provides you with a lot of investment opportunities. And it is good for you to take time to really understand how the investment world works when it comes to the oil and gas industry. How you can be able to invest maybe in starting an oil and gas business, whether you want to do that in the upstream sector, starting an oil fields business, or even investing in the oil and gas stocks across various stock exchanges across the world. You need to understand how all this works, and one area where you can be able to get some of the insights is by reading oil and gas books that has been written covering those topics. These are oil and gas books written by investors, written by people who have built businesses, or people who have actually been able to work within the oil and gas industry, including people who have traded in the futures market. As an investor, you can be able to actually get involved or participate in individual company stocks, futures contract, royalties, and direct business ventures. But for you to be able to be effective when making this investment, you need to gather as much knowledge as you can. And one area where you can be able to tap that information from is by reading oil and gas books that relate to investment and business in the oil and gas industry. Whether you are considering investing in the oil and gas stocks or thinking of starting an oil and gas business, books provide valuable information and insights that can help you to navigate this particular area. Another reason for you to read oil and gas books is to be able to get and acquire technical and operational knowledge of the oil and gas industry. You might assume that oil and gas books are only for engineers or people who are experts in the oil and gas sector, but that is not true. If you do not have any technical background or expertise when it comes to the oil and gas industry, the first area that you need to focus on is reading books that can be able to help you understand the technical and operational aspects of the entire oil and gas value chain. That means that you can be able to have a broader perspective or a broader understanding of how oil and gas industry operates without being too nerdy or being too technical about it. Oil and gas books can be able to explain to you or help you understand how oil and gas is extracted, how oil and gas drilling happens, how the petroleum refining takes place, and you can also be able to have a better understanding of the processes that are involved when it comes to infrastructure development, pipeline infrastructure, among very many other aspects of the oil and gas value chain. Understanding these things, these technical and operational areas of the oil and gas industry can be very useful, especially if you're an investor, if if you are a business leader, if you are a policymaker, or if you are someone who is just interested in making decisions that relate to the oil and gas industry. You need to be able to at least follow the conversations in the rooms that you get into when discussing investment decisions or policy decisions. That can only come by actually spending time to read oil and gas books. And there are quite a number of books that you can be able to get that can give you an overview of how these things work and areas that you should focus on. Another benefit of understanding the technical aspect of the oil and gas industry is that it enhances your communication when it comes to dealing with the oil and gas technical or experts. It makes life very easy, and this is something that I have experienced when I have been into meetings with oil and gas experts. I am usually not lost because I can be able to understand the discussion, to follow what is going on, and this is because I have invested in reading oil and gas books over the last 10 to 15 years. Another important reason why you should be reading oil and gas books is because they are going to help you understand the major rules and regulations that govern the oil and gas industry. And this is in relation to creating awareness when it comes to regulatory and environmental issues. Oil and gas is one of the highest regulated industries in the world, and this is because of its environmental impact as well as its economic significance. You're going to have governments that are going to actually set rules or put rules that govern exploration, production, and emissions. So you need to be able to understand this, and one of the things that you can be able to understand all these issues comes with reading oil and gas books. If you are a beginner in the oil and gas industry, reading oil and gas books is going to help you understand the major laws and regulations that govern the industry. You are going to understand topics such as environmental protection, carbon emission, renewable energy policies, as well as corporate social responsibility. An important aspect of this topic relates to local content. When you study oil and gas books and you study this particular subject, you're going to get deeper knowledge and understanding of how local content can play a big role in the oil and gas industry. What this means is that by actually gaining knowledge when it comes to regulatory issues in the oil and gas industry by reading oil and gas books, you're going to be better placed to understand issues related to environmental concerns, environmental risks, compliance issues, as well as industry's transition in this era of looking into the cleaner energy. Whether you are an entrepreneur, an investor, someone seeking for a job, or a professional, knowledge on the oil and gas industry is going to give you a competitive advantage. You are going to stay or be ahead of your competitors by understanding the market dynamics, market trends, and also having overall knowledge of the workings of the oil and gas industry. And this is because oil and gas industry affects very many other sectors, or there is a multiplier effect when it comes to sectors that relate to the oil and gas industry. And what this means is that when you read oil and gas books, it can help you to stay ahead. You can be able to anticipate changes. And you can also be able to have a deeper understanding when it comes to what you are doing in relation to the oil and gas sector. And this comes from the fact that a lot of things are derived from the petroleum industry or from hydrocarbons. So there are quite a number of sectors that actually can be said to owe their existence to the fact that oil and gas industry still exists. And therefore, you can be able to have an advantage if you actually understand oil and gas industry. There are a lot of businesses that want to get into the oil and gas sector. There are a lot of entrepreneurs who want to invest in the oil and gas industry. So if you have an understanding and a deeper knowledge of the industry, you actually are ahead of a lot of other people. And you can be able to create value and provide value to the people who actually need it. That means if you have that, you can also be able to generate additional income for yourself or probably get higher pay or get higher returns based on your oil and gas knowledge that you have acquired from reading oil and gas books. If you are an entrepreneur or a business owner, knowledge about oil and gas industry or oil and gas markets can be able to help you make better financial and operational decisions. This can lead to you being able to gain an advantage over your competitors, as well as making more money or having profitability coming into your business. Reading oil and gas books ensures that you are ready, confident, well-informed, and prepared to actually take advantage of any opportunities that can come from the oil and gas industry. And while the oil and gas industry is complex, taking time to buy and read oil and gas books gives you an advantage or gives you an opportunity to understand how oil and gas operates. And if you would want to actually even further your understanding of the industry, you can even go ahead and watch oil and gas movies or documentaries that actually cover the oil and gas sector. And if you are interested in that, watch the video on your screen right now. Subscribe to this YouTube channel if you have not, and I'll see you in the next one.